Good morning, everyone. I know I always have to give you guys a minute or two to get on here because when I start doing my live, it takes a little bit for a time for everyone to get notified that there's a live happening, so I have to blab a little bit. So I apologize if you're watching this as a recording. If you're watching it from my YouTube channel, then it's a recording, and I just need to give everyone some time to get here. So that's why I blab. Anyway, this morning, it's a really beautiful day here. I think we're gonna get up to 80 degrees. So I'm not wearing a turtleneck today, so that's kind of nice. I kind of live in turtlenecks for a good part of the year here because it just gets so cold and I don't like to feel cold at all. So anyway, other than that, I hope everyone had a nice Memorial Day weekend. Maybe some of you were out there barbecuing and spending time with friends and family. We did not barbecue. We had kind of a rainy, cool day yesterday, and no one felt like barbecuing, so we kept it really simple. The other thing, my son was at an ultimate frisbee tournament this weekend, which was kind of fun. We went for the very last game to watch them play, and it's a really fun thing to watch, and I love their spirit. I think it's one of the best team spirit sports that I have ever watched. I just love it. I think they don't have referees in Ultimate. They referee amongst themselves. So that's pretty cool. If they have a real dispute, they might refer to their coaches or anything like that. But usually they just resolve it amongst themselves. So I think that's really cool. We could take a cue from that in our world, right? And the other thing is, no matter which team scores, they always regroup at their end zones and they do a little cheer, a little chant. So like we could do that too in real life, just like, okay, well, we lost a point, but hey, let's do a cheer, right? So that's kind of fun. And if you ever ask one of the team players, like, what's the score? Because you came in late, right? They look at you and they go, it's 0-0. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, that's not the right person to ask. They don't, the players themselves, they don't keep score. Their coaches keep score, and they try and focus on each point. Some really good life lessons that we can learn from Ultimate Frisbee, you know. Just like keep it simple, keep cheering, you know, don't keep score, you know, just focus on like what's right in front of you. So I really like that. So we had fun watching them. It's a little bit different than a lot of sports. So if you ever get a chance, I would highly recommend to watch Ultimate Frisbee. They call it just Ultimate, but if I just say Ultimate, a lot of people won't know what it is. It's Ultimate Frisbee, and it's a lot harder than it sounds. So. But anyway, I digress, and now I have a few people here, so I'm going to switch to card mode. Today is Casing Tuesday, and it's the day when we take a card out of one of the current catalogs, the Stampin' Up! Catalog, and we give it a makeover. Some of us, if you really like that card from that day, go ahead and do it exactly like it is in the book. You can change out whatever you want, so you don't have a supply that was in the card. You know, you change it out and you make it your own. So I think it's always fun to see what everyone comes up with. We have a group of bloggers, and they also join us, and they do their own cards. And there's a great variety, and especially today, I think when I looked, I was the 4th card that posted, but everyone's card was different. And I think I'll tell you why in a moment, why I think people varied a little bit from this card, but let me flip the camera around before I do that so you have a basis. So my card, actually, you know what? I don't know where my cards went. Ha, that's the one thing that I didn't put out there. Let me just take a quick look. Oops. My cards. Oh, there they they are. Okay, great. Oh, like I'm so good at getting everything together, and then I'm like, where the heck are my card samples that I made? The one thing that's probably really important to show you. But today I thought I did it with the Love What You Do. I guess we could call it the Share What You Love bundle. There's 3 different bundles, and they are all got different names, but none of them have Share What You Love in it. It's the Share What You Love suite, and it's a stamp set and some beautiful paper. Actually, it's more than one stamp set in the suite, but we have bundles that are available right now that you can purchase as a big bundle. But come June 1st or Friday, you can purchase everything individually except one of the stamp sets, and that one is only available in the biggest bundle. That has the statement of the heart on it, but it's probably not the one that people who are making cards just for fun want the most. It's probably more meaningful to us as Stampin' Up! Demonstrators, but everything else will be available individually, including the beautiful paper, and I think that will be something that people will want to get individually afterwards. So let me turn the camera around and let me show you what I'm doing with these cards today. And if you have any questions along the way, just ask them. I will scroll back and look at them. Let me turn us around. Look at my view today. Okay, that's the middle of my window right there. So it's probably, you can't really see the whole view, but it's like a view of the Charles River. And it's just gorgeous. I just had a group of geese with their little goslings walk past here just before this video started. They should have come back for an encore appearance. Oh, and one little thing, I'm just gonna turn this around a little bit. See my new ink pad holder? I got that from Stampin' Storage just this about a week and a half ago. And because my old one could only hold 48 ink pads, and now that we have more, I wanted to switch it out so that I had them all in one place. There's like, you use ink on almost every card, so it's like really important for me to have it there. So let me just turn this around and do this. Let me just, I need to tuck my stand underneath here just a little bit. Okay, sorry about all the motion. So here is the card that we are casing today. And so let me tell you a little bit about this card. I didn't pick it, and I'm glad actually someone picked it. It's not my favorite layout, and I'll tell you why. The first thing that I would change on this card is this banner that comes across the middle. I think it's too long. I would have made that shorter. And to be honest, this layer right here, this label layer, kind of, it doesn't, I don't think it really goes, you know. I think it's too busy. And then you've got this greeting sitting out here like that. It's not my favorite layout of a card. So I simplified mine a little bit to make it suit more what I like. Visually, I think this card has some issues, like busy wise, like it doesn't quite float my boat, but it's a great way. You can look at this card or whatever card you see online or wherever, you can go, yeah, I like it, but I could make it better. So that's usually, I think that's what a lot of us did today with this card, because I noticed no one has followed this exact layout. So, you know, I think we all looked at this card and went, let me just switch it up a little bit. So this is what I did with the card. I took the banner, made it, maybe it's just a tad bit shorter, but I made my square layers a little bigger. I ditched that pretty label punch. I guess I could have maybe put it on there somewhere, but I would have done it differently. I wouldn't have stuck it on top of the squares. But I think this is a nice, it's a cleaner layout, and the paper just does a lot of the heavy work. It's just a really, really beautiful paper. And I liked it so much that I thought, hey, could we do this in a different color? So I actually also made one. This one's in Grapefruit Grove, and this one is in Mint Macaron. And then I thought, well, you know, since I've already done 2 different cards, why don't we do it in one more color? So today we're going to do completely different one from these two. Well, not completely different, but we'll use this as a guide and we'll create yet another card with the same paper. This is the stamp set that I'm using. It's called Love What You Do, and I'm using this stamp and this stamp for my focal point. So the first thing that I'm going to do is let's get all the pieces of the card together. And so I'll need my Big Shot, and today I actually have it right down by my feet so it's easier to get. And we need to cut a couple of the layering squares. Where did I stick those? So these are the layering squares framelets, and what's nice about these is they come with these scallop squares, because that's something that's very hard to hand cut. Now you could probably very easily cut these squares, but these are nice for creating windows. We're not going to be creating a window for this card, but I'm just going to use the plain square just to cut out my shape because it layers nicely with the scallops. So you're going to need the largest scallop square, and I'm cutting that in basic black, and you're going to need the second largest smooth sided square, and I'm cutting that in thick whisper white. So I'll just, I've got my magnetic platform on here. I've placed a cutting plate down, my cardstock, then my dies, and then my second cutting plate. And then I just run it through. Oh, you know what you can do, which makes it really a lot better to run these guys through. I've kind of halfway run them through, but if you turn them a little bit on an angle, it helps when they go through, and it doesn't make such a big thunk noise if you just kind of have them on an angle, so they're not coming, so it's not coming through like a whole straight line, like one of the points is coming through first. It won't make as much noise. See? Doesn't that sound better? Yeah. Someone told me that, and I'm like, yeah, I knew that. And I was like, yeah, I better do that on camera because it always makes such a big noise. So those are my squares. Then the other pieces that I need for the card are, I need a card paste, and I'm going to be using a new color. It is called Mango Melody. Now, Mango Melody is not listed as one of the colors in this designer series paper, but see this paper, this beautiful paper called Share What You Love designer series paper. It's got some really pretty patterns. Like, look at this one right here. Anyway, on one side it's got pearlized accents, and it's gorgeous. And Mango Melody is not listed as one of the colors, but I thought this paper had kind of a light sort of Mango Melody feel to it, so I thought it would look nice together, and it's a new color, and I thought, hey, let's just play with that. So for my card base, it's Mango Melody cardstock, which will be available on Friday if you're not a demonstrator, and I just cut it to 8.5 by 5.5 and scored it in half at the 4 1/4 inch mark. Then this piece is a piece of that Share What You Love designer series paper, and it is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. Yes, I know that's a weird measurement, but that's how much I wanted to show of my paper in the background. Then I've got a piece of 5.5 inch by 1 inch Mango Melody, and I'm just going to take my banner triple punch and just slide it in that 1 inch slot and punch both ends. This is such a handy little punch to have, because look how nicely it makes those banners really quickly. And then these are just like the end pieces that got chopped off. So we've got that layer. And then we just need to do our focal point layer. Very easy card to make. So I'm just going to take a piece of scrap paper because I'm going to stamp off a little bit. And I'm going to start with my greeting, and I'm going to use my Memento ink pad in Tuxedo Black. Just ink that up, and I want this really close to the bottom right hand corner. If you don't get it close enough, you won't have enough room for your flower, so it's kind of important to get it down in the corner. And then you need your flower stamp, and I'm going going to ink that up. Ink, 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 ink. And then I'm just going to twist this so it is right along the F of friend, and just line that up and stamp it down like that. So right now it doesn't look that great, but we'll make it look better once we color it with our ink pad. Now, the one thing I found out about our new ink pads is when I first got them, I'm like, I can't squeeze this hard enough to make that pool of ink. You know, with our old ink pads, the lid was a little softer and it was a little easier to squeeze just with your fingers to create that pool. Well, that didn't work so well with these new ink pads, and I was a little bit sad about that. But I thought, you know, you could still, you know, smear it on a plastic lid, or you could still, you know, take the re-inker and put it on something, you know, that was non-porous. But actually, it does work if you squeeze the lid. You just need to know how to do it correctly. So this is how you do it to get the pool of ink. So you turn your ink pad over to the back side. This is for the new ink pads. And you take the heel of your hand, and I'm standing up, so I will have like direct, the pressure going down. And I just take the heel of my hand and I squeeze down, okay? And now I should have a pool of ink on the bottom. So you open this like a compact. So I like to have it the open side facing like a compact, and it opens up like that. And the easiest way to slide it down if you're going to stamp is I slide it down like this on my table. But I actually need this area right here. So I'm going to keep it open. And I'm going to take my aqua painter. I've already filled it with water. And it's always good to have a tissue nearby, or a paper towel or something. You want to get the water started. I'm just squeezing the barrel a little bit. Okay, and I've got a little bit of water coming out. And then I'm just going to start off, I want a little bit watery, and I'm going to come along, and even though this is Tuxedo Memento Black, and it's not really a waterproof ink, if you're careful, you can watercolor with it. So I would use StazOn if you were really concerned, or if you were having trouble with the black bleeding. But this is really my favorite black, and I like to use it to stamp. It makes me happy. So I'm just being kind of careful not to touch the black too much. But if not, just use your StazOn. I would use Jet Black StazOn. So I'm just coming in. I'm doing a very quick job of just getting the color on there. Now I'm drying off my aqua painter a little bit, and I'm going to use this a little bit more full strength, and I'm going to come around here near the bottom and of each flower and just darken the base a little bit with a darker wash. And then you can come in and you can do the tips just a little bit as well with just the darker, just to provide a little contrast. I think that looks pretty good. And then to close this up, make sure your ink pad is all the way out, and then it should just flip shut and it just clicks shut. I love the new ink pads. They're actually good to use. You just need to kind of get your thinking wrapped around a little bit differently, because you know your muscle memory is like you know how you open it differently. Once you figure it out, it will be a lot easier. So there's my focal point, and now I just need to put my card together. So let's start with the paper, and I'm going to use some Tombow glue and just put a little bit. Come on. So if you ever have trouble with your Tombow glue, it might have a little bit of glue stuck in there, dried glue. I open up a paper clip and I use it to clear the nozzle. I'm just putting this down, centered. So here is my high-tech glue declogger, just a paper clip that I pulled out one end, and then this still has a nice little handle to hold on. And I just keep that with my glue, and that way I can declog if I need to. So then let me grab this one and put a little bit of Tombow on the back of it. I want to center this as well. Everything on this card is centered, so it makes it easy. And then I'm just going to put some Tombow right in the center, because I kind of like to do this like this first. I find it harder to center on once it's on the card base, so I'm just kind of doing it like this, centering it. Shove it a little bit this way. All right. It's a little bit crooked. Okay, that's pretty good. So now I've got those pieces stuck together, and now I can add Tombow to the back of this, back of this, the back of this. Bring my card base in and just center it again. So, what do you think? Do you like the mango melody with this paper? I think it works. I definitely think it works. Where did my other cards go? I have like shoved everything around. Ah, there we go. So let me show you my different renditions of this card. Aren't those pretty? Like, wouldn't that make a really pretty card set, you know? And that's just 3 of the papers. There's other papers in there that you could use to create a similar card. Like, I don't know, I was looking last night and I was thinking that maybe this paper right here, isn't that pretty? You could pull the purple out of that, maybe do a rich raspberry card base. So this paper really does have a lot of potential, and it's a little thicker than our regular designer series paper, so it's perfect if you want to make boxes out of it. And so it's really a nice paper, and it's got those pearlized accents. I don't know, can you see that? If I'm flashing that, can you see the pearl, like the metallic? Let me see, this one I think has metallic on it too. See? Isn't that pretty? And then this one has metallic on it too. You see how it shines when I'm holding it in the light? So it's a really pretty paper, and I think you'll be able to do a lot with that. And that flower, I mean, look how fast that little thing was to stamp. Just very, very easy. Okay, I'm going to look before I sit back down. I'm going to look and see if we have any questions. All right. Okay, there's no questions, so let me just turn you guys back around. Oh, there was something I was supposed to tell you. Oh, yeah, there is something. So next week is a special week because we are doing our 150th card. On June 5th, it will be our 150th. And that week, I'm going to order something on June 1st. I'm not sure what yet. I might do a poll on our Casing Tuesday group. That might be fun to see what people would like to see as a prize. So what I was thinking of doing is for our 150th, if you play along that week, you'll have the whole week to play along from June 5th till the next the Monday before the Tuesday. And then on Tuesday, we'll do a drawing for a prize winner. And so the only thing you'll have to do to be entered in the prize is to create a card based on that week's challenge card. And if you enter within the deadline, then I'll enter you in the prize drawing, and then someone will get a prize. So I thought that was kind of be something a little different to do for the 150th card. Just so happens to be the first Tuesday of the new catalog, which is really special. And the person who started Casing Tuesday is my downline, Catalina. And I finagled it so she would get to pick the 150th card, because I thought that was only fair since she was the one that started it, because she has done all 150 cards. I can't remember exactly when I jumped in. I think she was on card number 50-ish. And that's when I was like, hey, Catalina, it's kind of fun that you've been able to do this so consistently. Like I said, could I blog with you each week? So we started blogging together each week, and then we started the Facebook group, and then we joined, we had some bloggers join in our group last fall. So it's kind of been a group that's been growing and doing different things. But at the very core of it was Catalina and her love of casing cards out of the catalog, which I think is such a great idea. Because it gives us all a starting point, and it gives us a chance to make cards quicker. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say today. But I hope you guys have a glorious week, and June 1st, the new catalog on Friday is just around the corner. It's like so
close. So just as a reminder, like just double check. Go to the retiring products list in the store. Make sure there's nothing that you still want, because after May 31st, those products will no longer be available. So they may appear in the clearance rack. I don't think any stamp sets will, because I haven't seen them putting stamp sets in there. They might be doing accessories, but not stamp sets. So, and there's no guarantees either. So if there's still something that you want, get it now before it could be gone. So that's just my little advice to you. And then on June 1st, it's new colors, new catalog. There's a lot of things on my wish list, but I actually have to still sit down and write down exactly what I'm going to order on June 1st, because it is a big catalog and there's so many cool things in it this time that I'm just gonna have to pace myself, because you know, even if I could afford to buy everything that I wanted, I don't have time to demonstrate it all. So I have to choose the things I like the most. So that will be on my to-do list for this week. All right, guys, have a great week, and I hope you will join us on our Facebook group. Post your card this week and of our sample card, and I'd love to see what you do. I hope if you do, I'll get a chance to comment on it, because I like to go in and do that. So get busy and make some cards. I do think that this is a totally doable layout. You just need to do a little tweaking. Have a look at what everyone else has done. If you don't like the layout of the original card, just look at the layouts that people have tweaked a little bit in our group, and the links for all of the things that I've talked about for my cards. If you want to know exactly the dimensions of the cards that I made today, there's a link to my blog post. You can just click on that. There's a link to the Facebook group. Everything that you need to know is in the description of this video. So just go there and click on the links, and it should take you there. So anyway, have a great week, and we will see you back here next week for the 150th card. Very cool. All right, take care. Bye-bye.